If you don't want to use natural light and want more control of your lighting, you will want to use artificial lights. There are two types of artificial light that we'll be covering in this lesson. One is the artificial light that's created by lights around you, your house lights, a street light, or any other man-made light bulb. Two is the light that you create from a flash, a strobe, or a hot light. Using the artificial light around you can be very easy. The first step is to balance your camera's white balance setting to that specific type of light. Or if you want a cool or warm tint, then changing your white balance. This goes back to what Sam was talking about in white balance. A lot of cameras these days have excellent auto white balance, as Sam discussed, and we saw in the previous section. For now, you can let your camera do the heavy lifting. Here's a good way to use a desk lamp or room lamp to your advantage in making some creative decisions. Okay, so now we're inside. It's a little bit closer to nighttime, and I wanted to show you what you can use inside your house as just a household item to light with something. Now I have Sam over here with a lamp right next to him. So let's frame up and let's just see what we got to start with. I'm shooting at an f2 at 1600 and my shutter is a 3/20th. I'm just looking right at him. So check out this photo. You can see how the light is coming around his face. It's a little too dark to see the front of his face, but really what we want to accomplish is I want to be able to see his face and just do a nice kind of portrait photo of him. So I'm going to use the light and I'm going to manipulate it by moving it around so that I can basically light him with a standard light. So let's do that. So we move the light from behind him over to the right side of him. You can see in the last photo, it's really kind of cutting down his face and you can't see his face at all. I've moved it so it's a little bit more frontal, and so we're trying to get a little bit more light on his face so we can see his face. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. We're going to open up just a little bit to get a little bit more in there. I'm shooting at a 1/25. There we go. So you can see how the light's spilling on his face just a little bit more. It's a little soft. We're lucky because we have a soft bulb and it's bouncing off the soft sort of lampshade right here. It's a really quick and easy way to light someone just using lights that you have around you. It's not the most professional way to light someone, but it really works in a pinch. I think if I was going to change this, I would move him away from the background so the background falls off a little bit and we're just lighting him from the front. So now we've shifted Sam to the other side of the room so that the background is further away, and so there's a little bit of light falling off. And now we're going to shoot him. I'm going to close down just a little to get a little bit more dark in the background, and it really is creating this cool art look. And we're shooting at a 200th of a second, f2, 1600. Let's go ahead and take a look. Sam, look at the light for me. Perfect. So see how this creates a really nice creative look to it? The light is not fully hitting his face, but it's just cutting down a little bit. It's kind of like we use the natural light from the window, but this is artificial light. Often I've found myself in office spaces with really gross looking fluorescent lights in the ceilings. They'll work great for lighting a whole room, but it gives people these heavy shadows that are just not very flattering because the light's coming from directly above. Other times I'll be in someone's house or room and there are room lights or lamps around. Usually the best thing to do in these situations is to diffuse the light. And by that, I mean breaking it up from being such a harsh, hard light with something soft like a curtain, a sheet, a lampshade, or just turn them off or position them wherever you were shooting to take advantage of them. Let's take a look at this demo and see how we do it. So we talked about diffusing light. Now let's talk about shooting with indoor light and diffusing that light. The best thing you can do with diffusing light is just using household tissue paper that you might pick up for wrapping paper or something like that. Just using tissue paper and putting it over the light. I've taken off the lampshade on this light and I'm lighting Sam's face with it. And we're gonna go ahead and take a picture of him looking at the light so we can show you what diffusion actually looks like. So there we go, that's f2 at 160th at 1600 ISO. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take our tissue paper and I'm basically just gonna lay it on top of that light. Now that light bulb itself is already a little soft, so you're not gonna see a huge difference, but you'll see enough to make a difference. I don't recommend putting this on an Edison type bulb. Again, it's an LED light, so it doesn't get hot enough to burn us. And we're gonna go ahead and place it on top. And basically it's diffusing the light like we spoke about before. It's making it softer, it's creating less harsh shadows. So let's go ahead and take a picture. We're at our same settings, and in this shot we can still see the light, but that's okay, we'll crop it later. And here we go. So now take a look at these two photos. You see the first one and the second one, there's not a huge difference, but it's really shaped the light in the background and it's really calmed down on Sam's shoulders and his face. The shadows are a little less harsh. So it's still a little too harsh for me, so I'm gonna actually double up the diffusion and shape it a little bit more, and you can see in the background it's gonna change dramatically, and it's gonna change on Sam's face dramatically. So what I've done now is I've doubled it over and I've placed it so that the thickest part of the diffusion is facing Sam and the wall. It's diffusing it twice as much now. So let's go ahead and take a picture. Great. So check this photo out. It's even softer on Sam and softer in the background. You can see the difference between each photo. I do kind of like the second photo because we created sort of gradient in the background because the light was sneaking through the diffusion paper. But you can see how we start with very harsh light, softer, softer. So that's a really quick and easy way to diffuse your indoor light using just tissue paper. Keep in mind you don't want to leave that tissue paper on your light bulb for very long. When you're done, take it off, and if you're not using it, don't leave it there. You can also create different types of diffusion by using different types of like sheets or using tissues or using tissue paper, and you can wrap around the light, and every light bulb is sort of different. I would recommend doing this on LED light bulbs, not those hot Edison bulbs. Now you've seen how you can still get beautiful photos using artificial lights around you. In the following lesson, we'll dive into using a flash. It's an important skill for any new photographer to have.